Hello, beautiful you. Namaste. Welcome to Yoga Bliss with Shelly, and I'm Shelly. Today's practice is happy ankles and feet yoga. So come on, my friends. Grab yourself that cozy couch blanket for your support, for your comfort, a little pillow, and if you have a scarf or a blanket that you can use, or a belt or a strap. I have even used baby blankets for this. So we're just gonna do a few modifications, and come on, my friends, let's show up and let's make our feet happy like that penguin movie, Happy Feet, and we can flutter around because we have got to give these feet some love, love. Love your feet. My friends, join me in your Baddha Konasana. So if you have that cozy couch blanket, get that under your sit bones and get it nice. And really touching the soles of the feet, here. As we just allow ourselves to just slow it down from whatever was happening before this, slow down whatever's happening after, and show up to take time for you, time for self-care for these amazing ankles and these feet who do so much for us and who often get injuries. This one's actually perfect. I had made a yoga for feet last week, and since then I hurt my toe super bad, so I've had to be really kind and gentle to my feet. And I know that I have a lot of judgments of my own feet. So bringing your awareness to your feet as your drishti, as your visual point, as you just rock out. And just being aware where you are in your hamstrings and knowing if you need to go a little bit further, if the hamstrings are feeling too high up, that's okay. Or if you have more mobility and flexibility in that hips for that external rotation of the hip, that you can bring those heels closer towards that pelvic wall. And just breathe in a big breath that comes through the tips of the toes and blowing it out. And from here, just giving those feet love and massaging. And I like to do a full-on, almost like a knead. So if you've ever made bread or baked anything or pizza crust, just kneading the feet, beginning at the toes. And even in this Baddha Konasana, in this butterfly, you can release the toes and just give love to the toes. And I know I almost broke my toe, so I'm gonna barely rub that toe, but I'm gonna give it love. And you can even bring the fingertips, pointer and middle finger, and just gently massage. And knowing that self-care, my friends, is up to us. We cannot wait for other people, right? We cannot wait for other people to help us rub our feet. Bringing those pointer fingers, or maybe all of the fingers, along the arches, and just, if you can, just gently peel the feet open, and just allowing the far edge that's connected down to the mat to be connected, and allow everything else to peel open. If your feet don't allow for this, you can just bring one foot forward and allow one foot to come towards you. So just do what feels best for you, my body, and knowing that loving and nurturing these feet and ankles is a big deal in taking care of our body and protecting our body when we walk, when we run, when we practice yoga, even when we drive a car, and just wearing good shoes and taking good care of ourselves. And bringing the hands to the ankle and just gently massaging out the ankle. And I know that I've heard of people shattering ankles from running, getting shin splints. I used to get shin splints all the time. So just rubbing and giving love, love to the ankles, all the way up to that shin who does so much for us. And just giving these lovely feet some love. And once you've completed one side, you can move to the next. And it doesn't have to look the same. If your hip flexors or in between your groin is feeling funky, you can just release one foot forward and allow the other foot to come near you, and you can get a bigger surface here that you can rub. And you can just gently push all four of the fingers into that foot, and breathing in a big breath that radiates up through the bottoms of the feet and pushing it out. Breathing in a big breath that radiates radiates up through the bottoms of the feet. And letting that go. And maybe here closing the eyes, humbly tucking the chin as you still rub. So removing the peace, the sensation of vision. I went and saw Deepak Chopra recently, and it was incredible. He was talking about our 5 senses and how our real awakened self is the one who's behind all the senses. It's the one who's not touching, who's not seeing, who's not hearing, who's not tasting, who's not perceiving. The real one, the one that we have maybe had glimpses of in practices of yoga or meditation or being just present in the moment. That's who we really are. Breathing in that big breath in. And still, if you can, massaging that foot. Being that real self, that nurturing self. For my last birthday this summer, I vowed to give myself compassion, and I wish the same for you, that we can be compassionate towards ourselves. So if we have a foot injury, maybe laying off our workouts, like not completely off, but I know that I usually will do some weight strengthening and some HIIT training, but I've had some weird injuries, and obviously the universe is telling me, Shelly, you need to back off. So I've been practicing yoga and knowing that yoga is so healing and it can be whatever you want it to be. And there are so many different practices on this channel that you can use if you have injuries, because I love to do vinyasa, which means to place in a certain way, if you were wondering, and everything is done with direct intention. And rubbing up on that foot and the leg and doing your thing, getting your feet together, my friends. And just gently bringing those feet back together, allowing them to touch each other. Gently exhaling the left leg long and activating through that bottom of the foot. And I like to envision like an invisible wall coming up towards me. Always gentle bends to the knees in yoga. Exhaling the right leg long. We have this pillow here. If your hamstrings are feeling super tight, if you want a little bit of a support, you can bring that pillow underneath of those legs. If it's feeling okay, you can just keep that bend depending on the hamstrings and where you are on the feet. Exhale, pointing those feet long and feeling that in the shin and above on the top of the ankles. Exhaling as we dorsal flex. So there's 2 ways to flex our feet. Dorsal, which if you've practiced my foot yoga, is you're like a dorsal fin, a dolphin fin. Plantar flex is like you're planting your feet into the earth. So grabbing that scarf or that belt and just bending those knees up to where you can and looping it around the outsides underneath of the feet and allowing those legs to lay as long as you can. And from the core, creating a long line of energy from the sit bones up high to the sky. Inhaling and just guiding that dorsal flexion. Big breath into that body. And I can feel this in the calves all the way around, even in my upper quads. It feels super duper good. Exhaling, winging those feet open. Woo! This is a weird one. Externally rotating. External rotation is you're externally away from the midline. Internally rotating is you're rotating towards the midline, which is just that midsection of that body. Exhaling, coming to that mid, internally rotating, and just feeling what that feels like in the ankles. Woo! And I just lost my guy. Exhaling, externally rotating out those ankles, internally rotating in. My scarf is apparently an elastiband. Exhaling, allowing that scarf just along one foot. As you inhale, raising that right foot towards the body. You can come in with one hand if that feels good for you, and you can almost do like a seated happy baby, or you can just pull, inhaling in towards the heart. You can bring it in. You can even cross that midsection, almost coming in for a seated figure 4. So it's just gentle. Exhaling, internally rotating the ankle, coming at the knee, and allowing that seated figure 4. And you can still create a little bit of resistance here with that foot. And my foot is trying to really rotate, and it's almost shining up. So doing what feels best for you in your ankle. This is almost like a lotus that people strive for. You're externally rotating that hip out, and you're externally rotating. I think that's right. I could be wrong. Know that I'm just a person and sometimes I make mistakes. And allowing that foot to rest up, and this is how you get your half lotus. And knowing it's really challenging to get a full lotus. I've been practicing yoga for 6 years now, and my full lotus is, I can't do it yet, and that's okay, and I'm fine with that. Exhaling from this seated figure 4, allowing that ankle to rest. And you can hold on to that strap if that feels good for you, or you can let it go. I'm feeling called to give myself a little rub on my arch. My arch is feeling really tender. So allow yourself to intuitively help yourself. Where are you feeling like you need something? Where's your foot hurting if you have an injury? And just bringing that awareness with a big breath up the soles of the feet and letting that go. And being loving and accepting of your feet and not judging if you have cracks or dry spots. If you like to polish or don't polish your feet. If you have calluses or bunions or warts or whatever is happening in your feet, just love them and give them gratitude. My foot on the earth is feeling my knee is feeling like it has a lot of pressure on it, so I'm just going to grab my pillow and support that because that's what feels good for me. My lower back was feeling a little strained, so knowing that you can do slight modifications to support yourself, to support other areas in your body. So just intuitively giving that foot some love and grabbing onto the bottom of that foot and rotating into a counterclockwise motion. Woo! And feeling any cricks or pops in that ankle and being okay with it. I know that I have like very airy joints. So as you go in that clockwise or counterclockwise motion, so just know counterclockwise is reverse the clock. So it's going to be to the left and around, left up to the right, and then clockwise is right and around. Sometimes our mind likes to play wacky games with us. Big breath in as we rotate and reverse. So if you were counterclockwise, now go clockwise or reverse. Big breath in, radiating up the soles of the feet. Woo! Big popping it out, my friends. Pop, up, cricks and pop. Exhaling, bringing that scarf or that belt or that strap to the bottom of the foot and coming forward. Inhale, bringing that knee up towards the elbow and just resting that in the crease a little bit. Big breath in. Exhaling that foot long. Inhale, bringing that up towards that crease. Exhaling it long and gently releasing that down to the earth and swapping to the next side. So I'm going to try it out without my pillow and see how it goes, and I encourage you to do the same. Exhaling that foot and creating a little resistance by plantar flexing. And test yourself if you can try to open up all the toes. I know for me it almost makes me go, oh. I know my daughter, she has special needs. She's in 4th grade, and she has a very hard time with opening up her toes and even her hands, and she does this thing with her tongue. And it just cracks me up. It's so cute and hilarious. But it's like, if you have to orally fixate on your tongue or your lip to try to open your toes, it's okay whether or not you're special needs or not. We all have these things, right? Exhaling. Whew. Inhale, bringing that knee up towards that opposite elbow. Exhaling it long. Woo! Inhale, bringing that up and just holding here. Bringing that in towards that body. Exhaling as we externally rotate at the hip, so just externally rotating the hip and the knee. Hip goes first before the knee because we don't want to cause any unneeded injuries by cranking on the knee. The knee is not meant to be externally rotated by itself. It can take a slight little external rotation, but it is not meant at all like the hip is. At all, my friends, and as you know. Exhaling if that feels good, to hold that figure 4 as your knee is bent and you're equally pressing up with the top of the hamstrings, the top of the thigh into the ankle. You can grab that pillow if it's feeling a little wacky, or you can do whatever feels good for you. If you feel called, you can give yourself another massage. I always feel really tender in my arches of my feet. I have super duper flat feet. And so my arches are kind of, I have little ones, but I've got the pretty flat, zip flat feet. And just a little FYI, for your information, I wear a woman's size 12 shoe. What? Yes, I'm 5'9", and I have the biggest feet ever. My dad wears a men's size 14. Huge feet, my kids have huge feet. Good foundation. Yes, I love it. Really massaging into those lovely feet of yours. I'm telling you all my dirty secrets, but they're not really dirty. They're clean, they're good. And it's okay. It's good to share your authentic truth and be yourself. Be yourself and shine your light, my friends. Big breath up the sole of the foot and letting that go. Getting your last minute rubs on and letting that go. Gently grabbing that scarf. And sound effects are always okay in this house. Exhaling, so internally rotating, so it's just a and bringing that foot forward. Exhaling it, micro bend to the knee. Exhale, inhaling in towards the armpit or the elbow, the opposite side. Exhaling, inhaling it in. And this is a good core, my friend, and you can also feel it in that Achilles tendon. Big breath in. The shins too, getting all the work. Exhaling it out. Big breath in. And letting that go. And allowing that leg to lay onto the earth. And from here, removing that pillow. If you had that there, crisscross applesaucing. Okay, my friends, so if you have a foot injury, doing a hero's pose might seem like torture to you. That's usually something that you're gonna find in a foot practice. And I actually did it in my last practice. Today, it kind of sounds ouchy. I'm gonna try it and see how it goes, but this is a really good foot stretcher. So from here, we're gonna just hinge forward at the hips, walking the hands forward, and this might not be as easy for you. So if you need to, you can swing your legs around and coming forward and walking those hands forward, my friends. So I'm gonna use support because you know me, I love support, and allowing those feet to just lay long. And I'm gonna turn around so you can see. So you can allow the feet to just lay long. And you can do big toe touching big toe and release all the way back. Or if you do want that really nice Vajrasana variation, so you're just posting up on the feet and releasing back to the sit bones. It actually doesn't feel bad. My toe, it's actually not hitting my toe, so that feels good. But if you have had like a broken toe or a broken foot, that might feel terrible and you might not even want to try it. So this might be better for you, or even just being in on all fours into that tabletop position. So just tuning into what feels best for you and for your body. Big breath into that heart space. And just creating a little bit of just openness in the bottoms of the feet. Creating that long line from the heart to the top of the head. You can even reach those hands back to those heels. Opening up that body and letting that go. And this might be something that you can only do for a few seconds or a couple breaths, and that's okay. Or you might find yourself like, hey, yeah, I can totally do this. Big breath in and letting that go. One more big breath here. I've got one more in me. Exhaling it out. Inhaling, hands on all fours. Exhaling that left foot forward. So rooting that foot into the earth. I'm gonna creep back and get my knee on the blanket because that feels good for me. And just rooting that foot, that left foot into the earth as you plant into the front of the foot and the back of the foot. And knowing how we walk really affects us. It affects our health and our well-being. And today I encourage you, when you're walking, to just be aware if you know you walk with your feet turned in, you walk with your feet turned out, maybe you drag your feet. I want you to mindfully take steps, and I want you to notice where it hurts and where it feels good. So when we're up on this foot, just tracing that hind foot, tracking the hip, the knee below the hip, and that foot behind, and exhaling and coming forward and feeling that stretch in the Achilles, that's that back tendon and the hind of the ankle. Big breath in. Exhaling as you walk those hands back and feeling, if you can, plantar flexing, and you can open those toes up big and wide if you can, and press them if you need to make that little weird face. Make it open those feet up, pressing into the earth. And you can track this all the way up to the quads and the glutes, all the way up to the thighs, the hamstrings and the booty muscles. And as you really plant and root into the earth, Exhaling, just gently turning the foot, the big toe, to tracing towards the right corner of the mat, and just feeling what that feels like. That's that internal rotation. For me, that doesn't feel the best. Exhaling, facing the short edge of the mat. Now external rotate and open up. For me, external rotation feels amazing in my ankle. So just pressing into that, and not just pushing your weight into this upper thigh. My body was just naturally doing that, but holding that weight up here. And you can even put those hands starfish. You can point up, or you can starfish down into the earth and just feel what that feels like in that external rotation. For me, it feels really good. So taking in a big breath through the bottom of the foot, up the ankle, and letting that go, up that foot in the bottom of the ankle, wrapping around the ankle and letting them go, gently exhaling that foot facing the short edge of the mat, and just intuitively doing something that feels good for you in your body. If it feels good, if you have the mobility, you can post up on that hind foot and you can sit back into that hind foot and just woo, really feel that. That is stretching hardcore in my toes on my hind foot. So feel what it feels like for you. And if you need to, you can release, coming up. From here, my friends, just gently releasing with a wide open starfish hand, bending that knee, trading spots, coursing through that core. And if you need some help, you can grab that foot, that right foot, and bringing that foot forward, tracking that knee over the ankle and that hind foot. I have a puppy who is just like my yoga buddy, and he likes to be all up in my business. And again, really tuning into those four corners of the feet, lifting up all those toes, pressing into the earth, and exhaling, hinging that weight forward. And you can just gently walk those hands forward if that feels good. Gently walking them back and feeling the transition. And even that hind foot, that left foot behind you, tuning into if it feels good to stretch up through the arch, or if you want to relax the top of your foot resting down on the earth, if that feels better. Exhaling forward, inhaling to neutral. Internally rotating, pointing that toe facing the opposite edge of that short edge of the mat, and just feeling what that feels like. Not pushing it too far, you know, giving a little bit of that internal and that external rotation. That movement is healthy for us. Big breath into that body. Maybe stretch the muscles you haven't stretched in a long time. Letting that go. Coming back to the short edge of the mat, facing forward. Big breath up those soles of those feet. Letting it go. Externally rotating, pushing that foot away from that midsection. And again, bringing that weight into that core. But if it feels good, if you want to, you can plant those hands into the earth, wide open starfish hands, gently bending the elbows, rolling the eyes of the elbows out. And you can even feel this wonderfully in the hip, because obviously right now I'm actually externally rotating at the hip too. So that feels super good. We've got a little bit of this external rotation in all of the joints of the lower body, which feels, for me, absolutely incredible. It might not be the same for you. So big breath in. And going to, if the internal rotation felt better, or just going in neutral if that felt better, my friends. Just aligning to what feels good for you in your joints, my friends. Big breath up those feet, up that ankle, wrapping around that ankle. Loving and accepting your beautiful feet and ankles for just the way they are. Letting them go. Big breath in. And letting them go. Gently exhaling back to neutral. And from here, just walking forward and feeling that nice stretch in that Achilles tendon. Big breath in. Even in that hind foot, you're kind of just releasing and letting the bottom of the foot open. Exhale, walking back. And if it feels good, you can post up on that hind foot and sit back. That's my injured toe, so I'm gonna not do that. That doesn't feel good for me. So tuning into what feels good for you, where you can even bring your weight up and do a little football. It's football season, right? So just bringing that weight back towards the heel. In America, it's football season anyways. Big breath in. Exhaling it out. You're doing so good at loving your ankles and your feet, because these ankles and feet are amazing. And knowing that no matter what injury that you may have had or currently have, the amazing thing about these bodies is, guess what? They heal. And by doing gentle vinyasas like this, or restorative yoga, you can help heal and keep your body healthy, and just giving them love and attention instead of just like beating and pounding on them. Exhaling, palms kissing palms into the earth. From here, crisscross apple, saucing those feet, and you could just walk back into that seated position, my friends. And from this seated position, meeting me in that Sukhasana, that crisscross applesauce that feels good, or back into that butterfly. However you feels good for you. So just bringing that awareness back into those feet as we bring a big breath in. And letting it go. And maybe just hinging forward at the hips here if you are in your Baddha Konasana, or if you are in your Sukhasana, just grabbing and wrapping each hand on each foot. So allowing yourself to just hold onto your feet or your ankles and close your eyes. And sending your feet love. And just saying, you're doing a good job, feet. Thank you for all that you do. And giving gratitude. Thank you so much. And thank you for all of your imperfections. Thank you for being perfectly imperfect, just the way you are, my friends. Big breath that radiates up the soles of the feet. And letting that go. And just gently from here, exhaling, one leg long and the other leg long, and coming in on that booty. And from the spine, exhaling back down onto the earth. You can use that pillow if you want, or you can use your puppy, which I don't really want to lay on. Exhaling, and I have my blanket under my spine, which actually feels kind of good. It's like giving me a little support here. So really just pressing those knees into the earth, not knees, feet into the earth. Exhaling, both knees touching knees, and allowing yourself to take your own customized, if this feels good, or if you need to just take your Shavasana, you can do what feels good to you. Bringing in a big breath up the soles of the feet and letting them go. Big breath up the soles of the feet and letting that go. And today, I encourage you, my friend, to bring awareness and love into your feet and ankles and really tune into how you're walking and how you're carrying your body, because our feet carry along with us. So as we lay here, close your eyes, soften the gaze, and envision yourself walking pain-free. Envision yourself walking and you're feeling light, you're feeling healthy and happy, and see yourself with healthy feet that you love to look down at, that you give love and you respect them and treat them kindly. Feet and ankles. And just see yourself, and how would that feel? How would it feel to have these really healthy feet and to walk with confidence with each step that we took, no matter how we walk. If we walk like our parents or siblings or grandparents, and waddle feet, inward foot, however we think we walk, we're creating a new way of walking. We're going to create a way of walking with confidence, our toes facing forward, picking our foot slowly and mindfully, raising our hearts, and just being confident in our own feet, in our own ankles, in our own body. Big breath into that heart center, my friends. And letting that go. Giving so much love and gratitude for your feet for showing up for you today. And gently bringing palms, kissing palms, either to the third eye or to the heart center. Thank you so much for practicing, my friends. I'm so grateful for you. Thumbs up and share and subscribe to Yoga Bliss. Namaste, friends.